Hey, welcome to the One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute with your host, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest, Alan Bishop. Hey, this channel is all about home distilling and legal distilling. If you've got questions, reach out to us in the comments below, social media, or via bishopshomegrown@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out thealchemistcabinet.com. All right, guys, time for one more talking head video here this evening after a long couple days at work. But this is a good one, and it's not even a question, and those are also awesome. I love the questions. I enjoy answering them, and as always, you can send them to me at bishopshomegrown@gmail.com, YouTube comments below, or any of my social media. Keep an eye on Old Homestead Distillery's social media pages, but also oldhomesteaddc.com, as well as thealchemistcabinet.com. And the almanacs are being printed. They are being shipped here, and they will be coming out to you as soon as I get them. You can still buy the digital one as of right now on thealchemistcabinet.com in the warehouse section. And we will put the physical version of that back up as soon as I have physical copies in hand, so I can get them to you the second that you guys order them, as opposed to waiting on the printer and the mail service and everything else that just fucks up life in general nowadays. So this goes back to our salt-cured barrel question. So, and I think that you guys will appreciate it. And I should also disclose, for funsies, I actually did end up doing a salt-cured barrel with sea salt the other day, which was pretty cool. So all right, so here we go. From Randy again. Hey, Alan, I wanted to thank you for highlighting my questions on salt curing barrels and getting with Paul Menta to show some of the details of how he salt cures his barrels with sea salt. What an age we are living in, with the ability to instantaneously correspond with each other and get answers from the pros such as yourself and Paul. As always, thanks so much for what you do in advancing the craft of legal and home distilling. For your information, I copied Paul and Christopher Bad Motivator with this email. I'm really curious to see what Christopher has to say about the salt curing bad motivators thing. And Christopher, again, just to be honest, I actually salt cured 2 bad mo's, one of which I passed to my still hand Tyler, and one of which I kept for myself. So we're going to see what those do just for shits and giggles, because I really like that rum that Paul is making, and I like that salt cured idea. I like the flavor that it pulled out of that rum in particular. Wanted to update some of my ideas about salt curing barrels along with the information Paul bestowed on us with his video that you instigated, and make it easier for others to follow and easily do at home with their own barrels. Whether using bad motivator barrels or other barrel types, in my original email question, I geeked out on water chemistry, being a brewer of beer in addition to being a distiller. And I wanted to simplify the whole process for others, no matter whatever their level. That's great. First of all, I agree with Paul that we should only be using sea salt, not trying to recreate the saltwater profile with other chemicals. My bad. I will give quantities of sea salt to use in both weight and volume measurements to make it easy for those that may not have an accurate scale for weighing out the salt. Although be aware that my volume measurements will be based on regular ground sea salt, the kind you would put into a salt shaker. Coarse ground, and particularly kosher types, will weigh more or less based on their granular structure. Kosher salt in particular can weigh as much as half of the same volume of the regular granular sea salt. Also, after giving it some thought, I don't see any reason to totally fill a Badmo barrel with salt water to cure, since it's only the head of the barrel that needs to come in contact with the salt water. That's a great point. I think 1 gallon of salt water should be enough for the smaller 1.8 gallon Badmo barrels, and 2 gallons should be sufficient for the 5 gallon Badmo barrels. After filling the Badmo barrels with this quantity of water, simply invert the barrel on its head after sealing it up, so the entire surface of the wood on the inside of the barrel is covered with the salt water. Let it set at least a day or two, or until it stops leaking, as Paul mentions. After draining the barrel, let the barrel dry for 4 to 5 days with the bung removed and the spout open. Based on weight for all sea salt granular types, to make 1 gallon or 3.8 liters of sea salt solution, add 133 grams or 4.7 ounces by weight of sea salt for all granular types. Based on 35 grams of sea salt per liter of solution. For 2 gallons, just double the amount of salt. That's it. Based on volume measurements, only for regular ground sea salt like used in salt shakers. For 1 gallon, or 3.8 liters, salt solution, add 6.5 tablespoons of salt, or right in between 1/3 and 1/2 cup. Same as 100 milliliters of salt. Obviously, the measurements based on weight will be the most accurate, but I don't believe it will make any difference, especially since the salinity of seawater can vary between 32 grams per liter and 38 grams per liter, with 35 grams per liter being the average. I hope this helps to simplify the use of salt water for curing barrels. Finally, I have another question for Paul. He mentions in his video that you posted that he further buffers the barrels before they go to finish, which I take to mean barrels are used as finishing barrels. How does he accomplish this buffering? Thanks again for all you do to advance home distilling and legal distilling, Randy. thank you, Randy, so much for working on this project. It's something I'm really excited about. I'm also curious to hear from Paul on his buffering as well. I know he puts a lot of focus and a lot of emphasis on the pH of his finished spirit. And that's something that I've never done a lot of research on and don't know a ton about and would love to know more. This is one of the reasons why I'm looking so forward to working with Paul on some future projects that we have coming up and being able to learn from him. And not that I'm the smartest distiller in the world, because I'm not, and I'm not a master distiller, and I'll never ever claim to be a master distiller. What I will say is sometimes it's rare when I run into somebody that I feel like I can really learn something in depth from. Eric Wolf is one of those people, and Paul Menta is one of those people. Todd Leopold's one of those people. The Licorice Brothers are those people. So I really set up and pay attention whenever there's somebody I feel like I can learn something from. And this pH of finished spirits thing is something that I'm very, very, very curious about. I know that it's a thing that has been done in the past. I have seen reference to it in books from the 1800s, particularly from France, but it is not something that I myself have ever played with or paid that much attention to. And now that I'm over at Old Homestead Distilling Company, where I'm not so focused on making 100% quote unquote pure products in terms of bottled and bond or straight or any of that sort of stuff. Not that we're not going to do those, because we will, but because I'm playing around now with cordials and various other spirits and things of that nature, different combinations of sugar shines with different botanicals and that sort of stuff, I'm becoming much more interested and intrigued by the finished pH of spirits. So I will make sure and reach out to Paul. I'll tag him in this video, and hopefully he'll record another one for us. And he'll give us some inkling or some idea of what he's doing, or some version of what could be done as far as that buffering goes. So, guys, keep things up. And if you guys are salt curing Badmo barrels, let me know. I'd like to hear how that experiment works out for you. Hopefully, Christopher Conrad will actually have something to contribute to. Excuse me, damn. Hopefully, Christopher Conrad will have something to contribute to this as well. And if he does, then I'll give you guys an update on that. All right, guys. Love y'all. Later.